So I'm going to make some framework for the front and back, and then I'll figure out the sides. And I'll just screw these together with single screws on them. For now, they're going to get screwed to the wall anyway. So we'll go ahead and square these up and screw them together. And this will be nice because I've been really needing this area where I'm going to put a sink and I'm going to put in a cook stove. Okay, it's either front or back, it doesn't matter to me. There's one of them. Then I need to make bracing to come across and square it off. Out and shorten the bottom and notch this other end to go here, and we'll see if we got a level deal. If we don't, I'll adjust for it like that. Okay. That. Let's get this one level because I want my counter level. So we'll go like this on top, sort of. Yeah, all the way butted up is perfectly level, which makes sense. And then I'll put another one in the middle. I don't want too many screws on it because I'm going to be screwing in here. It'll be fine. I'll pop one more screw into this for now. After I get the counter on here, I'll come back inside the counter area and continue screwing stuff. I'm just going to do this so I don't get any sag. Alright, so cut some wood. Got this other one to be the same as the back. And then I cut a couple pieces of wood to do this end. And I still got to figure out if I got wood to do the other end. There we go. We're in now. got to do one other thing. I know this thing needed to be level. I think I have to lift it a little. Let's take a look. Yeah, just a little though. Right there. I think there's a knot here anyway. That'll work. So I thought I'd show you how this stuff looks. This is tamarack. It's really a beautiful wood. Okay, so this is a second setup I'm doing. I'm hoping I can get this stuff to dry. The weather's really changing fast. So we'll see what we can do here. a tool that I have had for years, and I forgot about it, and I didn't want to move this fridge. And DeWalt made this tool, and you can slip in a drill bit or a bit for screwing. And it can be in a tight spot, which this is. I couldn't do it like this if I wanted to. So we're going to try it out. I haven't used it for years, but I'm sure it'll work just fine. I don't think it needs a ton of them. Yeah, that'll work. There we go. Let's get this piece. It's trying to press out. There we go. I may need to sand these. Okay. I'd be amazed if I can get, well, I could probably get 3 of them put together. I may have enough to do all 4. Hard to say. We'll, this one. So I think what I'll do is I'll put this together on here for now so I can lay them down together. And hopefully I can get the glue, enough glue to get these all done. I should get 3 of these. Another one so I have 3. How it fits. Alright, I don't know if you can see this, but I drew a pattern for the sink. I drew a pattern over here for the 2-burner cook area. I'm going to use this 1 5/8 to create my corners. Well, hopefully my jigsaw will make it all the way through. Well, let's start right here. Let's see what happens here with this. This hole saw will make a perfect corner. Worst case scenario, by doing this, if my jigsaw won't make it all the way through, I guess we could do a test cut right now. I want to do this, then sand the top. That's all it is. And in theory, it'll drop in just like that. Now, that's good tight fit. I'll put some sealant around it. I have some clear sealant that I can put around the deal here and then drop it down and it'll adhere it, and if any spillage happens, it'll stay up here mostly. It won't go down in there. Stuff off, there should be no problem now with the corners anyway. Yeah, that fits good. I'll go ahead and start sanding on this. You don't need to watch me do that. I'll probably throw some stain on it too. Like I said, I'm going to see if I've got the right size dowel to plug these holes. If I do, I'll make ends, and then I'll tap them in there and then I'll whack them off afterward. Okay, so got a couple things I'm doing right now. I filled the holes and the cracks that are in this wood with a filler that's stainable. Just quick and easy, doesn't cost me any extra money. I'm going to drill a hole right now, and that's going to be for the faucet. There we go. You can see this is what I ran into right here, and with it running up flush with this surface, sure I could get the nut on it, but it ended up flush with this surface, and I still needed to thread on the hose. So that's why I had to countersink. Now I've got lots of room there to work with, but it's done. So let's go ahead and pop this down. I don't even need to hook it up yet. I already know it works. All right, Sage, are you going to help me? Let's get this thing in there. You help me get this in there, okay, little girl? Papa loves you. All right, I'm thinking right here is a good spot, right in this area, central. We'll bounce it around a little bit. See, this still opens up plenty well. This is where I get to my tank, so I can fill it up with water. Get this bad boy in place right here. Then we'll make sure it's even more leveled here in a minute before I do the bottom half. I'm not going to check it for leaks right now. I'm not even going to try it out or hook it up to power because I got a fire going in here. And I don't want to take a chance if there is a propane leak. So, yeah, it fits in here. I got the hole really snug. There's no movement. Okay, there's that. It's going to go in like that. Weird in. Oops. I think my generator just ran out of fuel. Okay. I just got to figure out where both these go. Sure everything stays flexible. Oops. Everything seems like it will work just fine. I made some trim, and so I'm going to go ahead and, well, let's put this piece on. And then I got to make the upright trim. And we're going to face this thing a little bit, and then I can start making the doors for it next. Sorry, with the angle and the light. Cut to go up here. And that's for today anyway. Still got to make the doors and stuff, but I can go ahead and stain this stuff tomorrow. Or I can always come over here like this. There we go. A nice wide entrance here. Put my bucket and stuff in. I don't need nothing but a narrow one here. So I'm planing down some boards. I didn't initially plan for these to become doors, but they'll work out perfect. I was able to cut them down and I can do a double door. Still got to come up with something for the single door side, but for now these will work out. I'll just get them planed on down to where they're perfect, like this side. So this side's raised right here. This is a little thicker. We'll get everything planed down nice and flat and get them both equally thickness, and they'll be pretty thin. I want to keep them light, and then I plan to frame them too. So we'll see how that all works out. I have a vision, but until I actually start doing it, I don't know if it's going to work out. So we'll see. We'll play it by ear. Worst case scenario, I start all over. All right. I think they're both the same thickness. They're going to be doors for a cabinet. This is going to be the back side. These will be the front. There'll be some running this way too. So I've drawn some lines on here to where I'm going to run my glue and line up the boards and clamp them to this for tonight. This is one side of a door for the kitchen counter. Back on the cabinet doors here. So I'm going to add these trim pieces like this, so when it closes in the middle, they'll kind of meet up together and it'll give it the effect of all of them being together. But I still got to make underneath. I have the other door I'm starting to build on. Alright, so now I'll put some weight on there. Alright, so this is going to be for the single door. I went ahead and made the door and the trim here for it. This one's going to get an extra piece here that's going to actually hang out from the edge, so when it closes it overlaps on the center, whereas the other two will close to each other, and then I got to get a latch for them later. At any rate, that's how I'm going to do this one. Slightly different. I've got it written out so I know where to glue, because I kind of messed up once. The glue is strong too. I tell you what, I don't need screws with this. This one's a little bit rough right here, so it's probably absorbing more. Got it done. That's the back side. And this is flush because that's where it's going to meet with the other door. And then that's the front. Alright, I need to put some weight on this next. A little latch to put on here, but I gotta wait till everything's together. Enough space for expansion and contraction. It's perfectly level like that, so I'm happy with that. Doors up and make sure they're positioned okay. I don't want to do a whole bunch of anchoring without knowing that it's going to all open and close properly. Okay. Spacer's in there now. So the goal is to line these things up. I guess what I'll do for the moment, there, just a slight movement, ever so slight. I'm going to try and get this one and then get them lined up together. I want a little bit of a gap in the middle. Not too much. There we go. Okay. Okay. Maybe making it too tight on this one. I may have too tight of tolerances. Yeah, sure does. This door's perfect. There's no twisting yet. Keyword yet. Oh, I guess there's a little between these two corners. I thought I'd show you the counter in a complete version. This is it, done. I've got knobs and latches on it since I put it together. And it has worked out for the last about 4 months now, maybe 5 months even, perfectly. It's turned out very nice. I'm very happy with it for this tiny cabin. It's plenty big enough. Looking forward to starting the next cabin and building a whole new cabin, and the cabin I'm going to build next is going to have a much bigger counter. It's going to be much bigger. It's going to be a live edge. This one's not, but other than that, this has turned out really nice. I wanted you to see it. I'm pleased with it. I got a 2-burner cook stove on it. I've used it a few times. Most of the time I cook on the wood stove. And the water in it, the tank below that's sunk underneath the floor, which I have about a 4-foot void underneath the cabin, that is frozen. So that will have to thaw out. I'll have to insulate down there. I'll have to wrap the tank and try it again. I honestly think I'm also going to put in, this one's just a cold water faucet. It's only got one hook up to it. So I'll probably put in a faucet where I can run hot and cold water out of it on an on-demand water system for the whole cabin. Because the shower on-demand system I have right now hasn't worked very good. I'm on my second one. It really doesn't work very good. So I think what I'm going to do is I can't hook things up on the outside walls because they'll freeze also. So I think what I'm going to do is actually off the side of the counter by the wood stove, I'm going to hook the on-demand water system there on the outside, not on the inside of the cabinet. I want to have that cabinet space for other stuff. And then I will be able to keep it always in a room temp, which is always above freezing, and it won't freeze. The water lines will go underneath there, and then I'll just open up the cabinet to keep things thawed out. I think that'll work just fine. And I do have latches on here, so if I want to latch them up, of course, it doesn't work as good because they're slightly warped, but it works. It's adequate. It'll work in this cabin. I wouldn't be happy with it if it was my next cabin I'm going to build, but for this cabin, I can deal with it. They have shrunk, the doors have shrunk and warped a little, just like the other door. So the biggest thing I've learned is when I cut wood from trees, it's probably best to give them a couple of years to dry, even after I mill the stuff into boards. So this year I'm going to concentrate on milling a bunch of wood, so you'll see me doing that. When the Quonset hut's built, I'll be putting a lot of wood in that Quonset hut to dry. Later on, the Quonset hut will be storage for my tractor and my truck and my trailers and stuff like that. But for now, it's going to be a wood storage area. I'm not going to worry about putting an end wall on it because I want to be able to drive in there, drop beams off, let stuff dry, and then I'm going to start assembling my cabin. And all my wood, I'll have boards cut. I'll just prefigure them out and try to get as much of that wood built with the extra pieces that can dry for like a good year or two, because it's going to be a good couple of years before I get inside and start working, building a loft, a stepladder, counters, cabinets, closets, all kinds of stuff. I'll be building all kinds of stuff. So all that stuff's going to take wood. I got to just think about it ahead of time. I got trim for the outside around the windows, around the doors, around. I'm going to build French doors. I'm going to build them from scratch. So that should be an interesting thing for some people to see, is building a set of French doors from scratch. Well, thanks for watching. If you're new to the channel, I hope you'll stick around to watch the next cabin build, which will be an Pacific Appalachian cabin build. And hopefully I will be breaking ground this spring or summer after I've got the Quonset hut built, and be getting that leveled out, start digging the cellar for it, and hopefully get the post holes done for putting the pillars in for building the frame on, or the foundation. And along with that, I'm also going to be developing a spring this year. I have a freshwater spring down below me on my lower part of my acreage that I started digging a ditch from. I've ran 800 watts of solar panels there. I've got a water pump to go to those solar panels. I've got a 500-gallon holding tank. I am also going to build a building around that holding tank as well as the spring. So basically the spring is about 20 feet off the cliff, and then about another 15 feet or so is where the holding tank will be. So everything's going to go gravity feed down to the tank, and then it's going to be pumped back uphill from the pump house at the tank, at the reservoir. And that, like I said, is 500 gallons. And that'll come up to a frost-free valve. And I plan to put in a valve up close to the spring area before it hits the tank, so I can drain the water in the winter time and let it just go on out down to the same area it's draining to right now, which leads into a creek. But the reason I want to do that, and then from the tank, it's also going to lead to the creek. So when it overflows, because there's no shutting that off, I'm not going to put a valve in there and shut off. I'm just going to have an overflow that will drop and the water will go out to the creek. But I don't want stuff going from the suspended line to the tank that's running water in the wintertime. I don't want that to freeze up. So I'll put a valve in. You'll see all that. My plan. And that's where I get my drinking water. I use a Berkey filter, which is off to my right. I don't know if it's in the camera right now, but it's just a 1 gallon Berkey filter. Those filters they claim they're good for 7 years, and I've got another set of them just in case I need it sooner. I already have it, but yeah, you don't want to be out of drinking water. If you're going to be off grid ever, my suggestion, if it's more than one person and say 2 dogs, this Berkey filter I fill up every day, sometimes 2 times a day, especially in the summer. I would suggest getting a 2 gallon model if it's going to be a family. You know, if there's 2 of you and some pets, or 2 of you and some kids, you're going to want a bigger Berkey system if you're doing the filtration like I am. If you're getting it from a well, you may not have to filter it. Me, I'm getting it from a spring, so I'm going to filter it. Even though the spring filters up through the ground, I am putting a filter to that water because I don't want to take a chance of getting Giardia. And, you know, because it's getting shallower and shallower, and who knows what kind of contaminants flow down and get washed up with it as it gets closer to the surface. So even though the surface of my water is literally down a bank about 20 feet, it's not at the top surface, but I have cattle around here that ranchers have, and they free range them, so they come through here. So you never know what could happen. The other thing I'm going to do is I am going to fence off the area, because I'm going to put a gardening area in there. It's going to be all natural gardening, so I'm not going to use any kind of fertilizer or anything like that. I'm going to use whatever I can, like hays or straws or whatever, maybe food scraps. I'm going to create a compost bin, and then I'll put compost in there so it won't contaminate my water or the creek. But that way I can keep the cattle at least at a decent perimeter away from the area. I'm not going to do my property line. It's just too much. I'm just going to do the area and just keep the cattle away from it as much as I can. So that's my plan. And I just hope that you'll stick around if you're somebody that's been watching me, because we're getting to the point now, winter's starting to go away. We're getting closer towards time I could start doing things. I've got to be able to work around here, and right now with the snow and the ice and all that that's around here, it's made it rather impossible for me to do anything at all. So that's been frustrating for me, as well as I know I've lost a few viewers because I have no new content. So I'm showing you something here, but I'm condensing. I'm going to do that every year. So be aware, every winter I'm going to condense the previous year's videos, because one reason, I don't have the ability to do anything out there for the most part. I can do some things and then I can show that, but for the most part, no. Secondly, it gives me a way, because I jump around from project to project. Sometimes in 1 week I'll do a couple projects. Well, it's nice to be able to put a whole project into one compiled video, because people can get more out of it.